A merchant's wife in the back row whispered a prayer. 7th. A strangled sound escaped her, a half-sob, half-gasp. Her forehead pressed against the frost-covered post. The cold, a small mercy against the fire across her back. 8th. Her legs buckled. Thomas caught her elbow, held her upright, not kindly, but firmly, steady. 4 more. 9th. She cried out, not loud, but raw. A single broken syllable. Ah. The sound echoed off stone walls. The Duke
Raiders
of Gloucester
came at dawn,
hadn't
my lady.
moved.
They
His
burned
face,
the farms and took the villagers.
half in shadow,
the guardhouse fell quickly. We
was
barely escaped with
unreadable.
our lives.
But
There
his
is only
knuckles
one
were
path
white
to
where they
salvation
gripped
now.
the lion's
We must
head
choose
on his
purity
seat.
over life itself.
10th.
This
The
sacrifice will be our
birch
redemption.
caught the edge of her shoulder, just where the dress had slipped, blood thin. Bright beaded on skin that was mottled purple and white from cold and impact. The winter air made the wounds bleed less, but hurt more. Nerve endings firing in frozen tissue. 11th. She swayed. Her breath came in short, ragged bursts of white fog. Her chestnut braid had come undone. Strands clung to her sweat-damp neck, freezing there. 12th. A final clean crack,
This choice
like
is
a branch,
forced upon us.
snapping in
Show
frost.
courage, sisters,
She
or we
collapsed.
shall all perish by
Strong
morning.
hands caught her before she hit the frozen rushes.
Brave sisters.
Not Thomas.
We must choose
2 of the
sacrifice
Duke's
over
own
defilement.
groomsmen. They lowered her gently onto a folded woolen blanket someone had laid nearby. Still stiff, with morning frost. A woman in a gray wimple, the castle's head healer, knelt beside her, uncorking a flask. The sharp, clean sting of vinegar water washed over her back. She flinched violently. The liquid felt like ice and fire simultaneously on her January frozen, birch-torn skin. Then, without being told, she pushed herself up slowly on unsteady arms. Blood and vinegar streaked her light orange kirtle, now rust brown and pale gold, mixing in ugly harmony. She turned, faced the throne, and walked staggered, really 3 paces forward, then sank to her knees. Not in submission, but in acknowledgement. Her bare knees hit the frozen stone floor with an audible crack. Her voice, when it came, was hoarse, cracked like parchment, torn, but clear enough to carry to the farthest torch-lit arch, despite the chattering of her teeth from cold and shock. I lied. A pause. She swallowed. Not for gold, not for land, not even for vengeance. Her hands rested on her thighs, trembling from cold and pain, for hope. I thought if I wore the color of truth long enough, it might stain me, make me worthy.
Compliant,
She lifted
healthy
her head.
teeth.
Tears still
She'll fetch
fell,
a decent price in the
freezing
east.
on her cheeks, but her gaze was steady. Hope without truth is poison. It poisons the liar first, then those who believe her. She bowed, then not a courtly curtsy, but a deep, full prostration, forehead pressed to the cold stone floor, the orange fabric pooling around her like a fallen leaf in winter snow.
Move!
I ask no pardon,
Lift the sacks!
only that my shame serve as your warning. Silence.
Move!
Then,
Faster,
a
you
single
useless thing!
sound.
Haul it to the
The
sled now!
Duke shifted
Please, I
not
cannot.
a word,
Have mercy.
not a gesture of mercy, but a slow, deliberate nod. That was enough. 3 weeks later, not 3 days. Because January wounds heal slowly. Dawn mist clung to Westminster's walls like breath on glass. She stood in the scriptorium, a high, quiet room overlooking the herb garden, now buried under snow. Shelves lined with oak chests. desks slanted for parchment. The air rich with the scent of ink, vellum, and drying quills. She wore undyed wool, now gray-brown, coarse, knee-length, no circlet, no lace. Her hair was bound back in a simple linen strip. Her back beneath the wool was healing. Stripes of pink and gold tender, but closed, though the winter cold made them ache constantly, especially in the unheated scriptorum before the braziers were lit. The master scribe, Brother Anselm, a man whose hands were stained permanently black from decades of ink work, pointed to a stool beside his desk. Start with the land grants. Copy neatly. No flourishes. She
There
sat,
will be sacrifice.
dipped her quill.
We knew this
Her
path
hand
would
shook
be hard,
slightly at first,
but
partly
we will
from
not
cold,
yield to the shadows.
partly from the way her healing back pulled when she leaned forward, then steadied. Hours passed. The scrape of nib on vellum, the rustle of turning pages, the distant clang of the farrier's hammer. Her fingers went numb repeatedly in the January cold, requiring her to warm them over the small brazier before continuing. Then,
This silver is pure.
on the margin
A fair
of a
trade for your
draft charter
furs, Sphere.
The
concerning
journey was long,
disputed
merchant.
pasture
The
rights,
price is too high.
she did something
The
small.
weight is true.
With
I
the
will not haggle
tiniest
on the
flick
price
of
of
her
the silk.
wrist,
Look at this thrall. He
she
is
drew a
weak.
single
I
delicate
offer
vine,
less.
not a rose,
That is too much
Not
for
a
this
wyvern.
quality of silk.
a
The
true
journey was
vine,
long. The
thorny
price
stem
stands.
climbing upward,
Weigh the silver
bearing
again,
3
Norseman.
small star-shaped white flowers. Vinca minor, the flower of remembrance and fidelity. She didn't look up. But when the Duke of Gloucester passed the open doorway an hour later, returning from morning prayers, he paused. His eyes lingered on the margin. He said nothing. Instead, he
Tell
reached
them
into
about
his robe,
victory.
withdrew a
Whisper the
single
stories
copper
of what we
coin,
did here
worn
tonight,
smooth by
or you will
countless
regret
hands,
it.
and placed
You will
it
spread the
silently on
stories
the
of
edge
our
of her
victory
desk.
rights.
Then
Tell them we
he walked
bathed in
on,
the blood of their jarl.
his footsteps
Tell them the cost of
echoing
their
in the
freedom.
cold corridor. She didn't touch the coin. Not then, but that night, in the small whitewashed chamber assigned to her near the kitchens, the only room warm enough for someone still healing from January flogging, she unpicked a single thread from the hem
The
of her
Lord
old
requires
orange
our
kirtle,
strength, not
the
our
one
fear.
washed clean and
We will
folded
face
beneath
this
her pallet.
darkness together.
A
and
thread the color of dried marigolds. She wove it carefully through the leather thong of her new belt. Not as a claim, not as a boast, but as a reminder of what hope without truth had cost her. The next morning, as she copied the Duke's decree on grain tithes in the still freezing scriptorum, her hand was steady. And in the quiet space between, by our royal authority and given under our hand at Westminster, she wrote, not in the formal hand, but in her own clear script, a single line. Small but unmistakable. Truth is the only lineage that cannot be forged. Outside. The raven called again. This time, she didn't flinch. She kept writing. Her back aching from the cold and from the 12 lines that would mark her forever. Her fingers stiff from January frost, but her conscience finally clear. The orange thread in her belt caught the weak winter sunlight slanting through the scriptorum window, not a symbol of false nobility, but of hard-earned truth. If you want more historical stories that reveal the human cost of medieval justice, subscribe to Flow of History. We're just getting started uncovering what actually happened behind the legends.